Well, what an absolute corker of a game in the URC that was. Here are some thoughts immediately following the final whistle, which has just blown in Durban at Kings Park, where the Sharks played against Glasgow Warriors, a team full of world champions hosting the URC champions, and it did not disappoint. If you haven't seen the game already and you don't want to know the score, obviously look away. Spoiler alert. Congratulations to the Sharks. Well, congratulations to both teams, firstly, for just putting on a brilliant 80 minutes. That was... Yeah, within the confines of a domestic league, that was not far off Test match rugby. I mean, just when you look at the names on the pitch, the number of Scotland internationals playing for Glasgow, the number of Springbok internationals, there were 14 players who were in the Sharks 23 who in the last few months have pulled on a Springbok jersey. Phenomenal squad that Marco Massotti has built. And now they're all back. En masse, including that man Sia Khaleesi, who got a try in his first club match since the top 14 playoffs for Racing 92. Absolutely cracking game, 28 points to 24. Well, I mean, at one point it looked like Sharks were going to run away with it, but then Glasgow just showed what they're able to do and dropped the hammer to claim 2 bonus points on the road. And they did this last year in their champion-winning season. They showed just how resilient they were and the ability to score even when the other team was on top and to claim 2 bonus points in the last 2 minutes of the match. I mean, Franco Smith, I'm sure, will be disappointed that their second half wasn't as good as the first and that they didn't win the game. But to come away from the Sharks with a fully loaded team they're up against with 2 losing points, a losing bonus point and a try bonus point, and Glasgow actually outscored the Sharks 4 tries to 3. And that's probably the story of the game. Glasgow, when they clicked, are absolute dynamite and they're resilient in defence. But the credit to Sharks is in the balance that they've got in this team. When they have the ability to pick everyone, they've got that lovely combination of raw power with Oxenche and Bongi and Banambi, Evan Etzebeth, Vincent Koch, Sia Khaleesi among the pack, and just wheels in the back line. Mapimpi, Fassi, Am, Esterhazen was influential as well. Hendrickser and Hendricks, they've got such a good team, but they just managed the game a lot better. I thought Fassi was excellent, and maybe was although Mackay played very well at fullback for Glasgow, maybe Fassi was the difference between the two teams ultimately because they just controlled the territorial side of the game. Sorry, I just kicked my camera. They just controlled territory way better than Glasgow, especially in that second half. Played the game in the right areas, squeezed them for penalties. They attacked the breakdowns, and Glasgow's penalty count will not be something that pleases Franco Smith, and that's probably where the game was lost. So I described this in the preview the other day as who would come out on top, raw talent or cohesion, which obviously there's a lot of cohesion in those Springbok players coming back into the Sharks team because they played together a lot and have done over the last 5 years. But they're coming straight back into this Sharks team who've had some mixed performances lately. Glasgow, both for club and country, a lot of rugby together, and it feels like a very settled side. And, well, it was nip and tuck both ways. I loved how Glasgow were just trying to get the ball outside of Sharks' oppressive defence. It was a penalty for Jordan Hendrickser, and then George Horn scored a try and converted it. That back row combination of Matt Fagerson, Rory Darge and Jack Dempsey were very influential. And then there was a penalty miss for Jordan Hendrickser. But then the penalties kept coming. Penalty, penalty, penalty. And from a 5 metre line out, a maul first. And it was just made in the Springbok camp. You had Bongi and Banambi throwing the ball to Eben Etzebeth, Oxenche making the carry, and then Jaden Hendrickser passing the ball to Sia Khaleesi, just a little outside arc, 5 metres out from the try line, and over he goes. It was, it could have been on the field for the Boks. There it was at Kings Park in the URC, 10-7 up after half an hour, and that power was coming to the fore. They were attacking the breakdown, and then with the territory they were getting from the penalties, with the space that was being from the turnover ball that they were getting by attacking the breakdown, Fassi was just, I mean, the guys were rapid. He was just letting rip. And at 15-7 up, they smelt blood. They were up in the tempo, but it was just before half-time, a try for Glasgow, a breakaway try, absolutely brilliant execution, getting it to the outside. Kyle Rowe with a little nudge in field, George Horn, man on the spot, going over for the try, and at 15-12, game on. Glasgow had weathered a storm and stayed in the game, and it would end up being even more so the case that final 10 minutes of the half, where it was all Sharks and Glasgow sort of hit back off the cuff, that was basically the whole second half as well. Sharks were well on top. Territory, penalty count, chances, points. They were dominating. 21-12, they went up after there was a penalty, and then Grant Williams came on. The penalties kept following. There was a yellow card for a high tackle. And then it was, I forget who scored the try. Oh, Grant Williams scored the try. No, did he score the next try? It was another penalty after the yellow, that's right. And then it was Grant Williams who scored a try, which was almost a carbon copy of the try that George Horn had scored in the first half. It was Mpimpi who just nudged the ball inside on that left touchline. And the scrum half, Grant Williams, was there just like George Horn was in the first half. And it was game over at that point, 26-12. Well, this is done. But Glasgow, with time running out, went for the corner from a penalty, scored with a good maul try. Forget who scored that one. Were they both by Johnny Matthews? Because I know Johnny Matthews scored the last try, and name a more iconic duo, Johnny Matthews and scoring tries. He's just got a knack. But 2 tries in the last 2 minutes, and the final try, what an absolutely brilliant attack. Got the ball to the outside again. They were giving up yards in order to go deep and round the outside. Fantastic execution, brilliant skills. Gassed it up the left-hand side. Stafford McDowell with a break. Brilliant pass to Kyle Rowe. Lift inside to Johnny Matthews, who showed a massive work rate to get himself there on Kyle Rowe's shoulder. Hastings sticks over the conversion. It's 28-24. 2 points. Sharks were impressive. And John Plumtree will breathe a huge sigh of relief that he's got his box back. Seemed to be quite a good atmosphere there at Kings Park. Obviously, they're never going to fill that stadium. I was there a couple of months ago for that Ireland Test match, and it was such a good atmosphere. And it looked like there was a fair few in, and I think they would have been entertained by that game. And they'll be pleased with the box back that Sharks look a force again. Can they take that kind of form on the road? This is going to be the question, isn't it? Glasgow won the URC last year, and they went to Loftus Versfeld and managed to win. And they've gone to Durban and shown that, yes, they were the second best team on the day, but they've got that resilience. Sharks, in order to climb up the table and in order to be a force, and in the Champions Cup, now that they've earned the right to be there, they are going to have to go on the road and do exactly the same. Bring the kind of intensity and physical dominance. Eben Etzebeth was just a menace. He's going to have to go on the road and deliver that for his team. And are they going to do it? Are they going to take their big guns on the road? I hope they do, because there's a lot of expectation on the Sharks. They've stuttered without the big names. They've got the big names back, and they look a very different team. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. It lived up to the billing. It lived up to the hype. I was flicking over, keeping an eye on Saracens against Bristol at the same time. But yeah, I found the Sharks Glasgow game captivating, and I won't talk for too much longer because I'm just looking at my clock as I do it. Oh, it's 10 minutes. It's 10 to 5 as I'm just right now. It's 10 to 5, so I've got 10 minutes to turn this video around, get it up on the channel, and then get sat down in front of Stormers. Should be a great game. Stormers against Munster, replay of the 2023 final. I love this. We've got Premiership, URC, and I'll bring as many videos as I can across the weekend. And in reaction, when I get the chance, I recorded and I've now watched the Bulls against Scarlets. Another really interesting and entertaining game, and well, less entertaining if you're a Bulls fan. I certainly found it entertaining, and I'm looking forward to bringing you more reaction to all of that. So if you haven't already, please hit subscribe on the channel, give the video a thumbs up, leave your comments down below. I'll see you on the next one.